Yeah, I
Okay.
had an echo from you as well.
Yeah, I just had to shut that off my screen. Yeah, and I want everyone just to have a little bit of patience with us because we're just getting started with this. So basically, Brent and I are going to just be talking and hanging out and testing out this news tech, and we're going to have a lot more in the coming weeks and stuff. So Brent, you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself and stuff to people that may not know you?
Hey everyone, it's Brent Dunn here from PPC Mode. A few of you may know me. For those of you that don't, there you go. Basically, I just run paid traffic, and I've been in the affiliate game for a while. So we're going to be discussing, what we see happening right now in the space, where we see it going in the space, and kind of go from there. And then obviously take some questions to kind of kick things off because we don't really have an agenda on what we're going to be talking about. So just kind of fill everything out.
Yeah, we've, Brent and I both, we run very heavy and we've worked with some of you watching have actually worked with us and running traffic with us and through us at Revive Media. So, I think that obviously mobile is where it is and where it's been heading for quite some time. And regardless of what kind of traffic that you run, you're going to come across mobile now. So that's still, I guess, my specialty. If you would have talked to me back in 2011, 2010, I'd say, well, I'm a media buyer, and that's how I made a living for 10 plus years. Well, now I guess you could say I'm a mobile media buyer, and I do that at very high volumes. So, Brent, I know we were talking a lot about a buzzword that we're going to get into, and that's pay-per-call. How about you share a little bit about your experience with this here in the recent weeks with that?
Well, first, before we get into that, I think we need to kind of discuss what's happening right now. And basically, what we're seeing is everyone is running the same stuff that they were last year. And because traffic sources like Google AdWords and Facebook, they don't want to deal with affiliates, we're starting to see everyone have to shift over to adult, pop-under traffic, and redirect. And it's causing an issue because the space is growing while the traffic available to affiliates is shrinking. And the reason for that is the majority of affiliates are running, pretty shady offers like sweepstakes, antivirus, stuff like that. And, no one is really actually taking advantage of a hidden market of, pay-per-call. And the ones that are only taking advantage of like IT stuff that, as we were discussing earlier, is going to be going away here pretty soon.
That's that's something that I kind of facepalm at, and that's something that throughout training people is trying to get them to diversify, and they find something that works and everyone wants to copy everyone else, and then we just get into this whole continuous cycle. And I speak to a lot of people on a daily basis still that's like, Ryan, since you guys haven't talked a lot here in the last year, what's out there, what are you running, blah 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 blah. Well, I hope that we can kind of help this kind of nudge the industry to move forward, because you're right, if you're running stuff that you can't, that you have to hide or cloak or whatever, you're not going to be around very long. And I can tell you so many cases over the years of guys that got into the diet and the skincare and the teeth whitening, and then it went on into mobile and everything else. If you're going to do that, you're not going to be around for a long time. So you have to, where the whole industry is heading, if you don't have something that you're promoting that you can promote out in the open, then you're not going to be around and you're not going to be here for the next 10 years. But with that said, it's like, well, what do you run? Well, a lot of you guys got to start getting out there and have a legitimate agency site. We've been preaching that forever. You have to have a good LinkedIn profile. You have to have an agency site, because people that, there's a lot of people that want you to run for them, but they're not going to just run with someone that it's a blinking Skype name with no picture.
Yeah, and like I was actually talking to a friend about this exact thing, is traffic sources don't want to be working with performance marketers. And the reason for that is it makes it very difficult for them to actually do the customer service. Because if there's, 10,000 people running $10 a day, you have to have a lot of staff to actually, do the support for those people, as opposed to the alternative. These traffic sources would much rather work with branders that will, there's 10 branders spending $10,000 to $100,000 a day instead. And obviously they're not going to need as much help. So, by building your agency site, that's step one, but it also comes down to everything you do. If you're saying that you're an agency and then you're only spending $10 a day, then you're obviously, they're going to kind of see right through you pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think anyone that's getting involved with affiliate marketing and paid traffic, especially here in 2015, you better have a budget. You better have money set aside, because if you're wanting to spend $10 a day, if that's all you can afford, okay, everyone's got to start somewhere. I get it, but you're not going to be treated like a serious agency of $10 a day. You need to get together and pull together a team, and that's I want to do a training just on that, and I want to call it team media buying. You have to realize that sometimes you can't do it all alone. And Brent, I think that's why we work so well together, is because you can only go so far just by yourself. Sometimes you need to develop a team, and the team needs to be able to everyone have a job that they can do and do it well, and that way you're able to move quicker. But at the same time, when you have a team, and let's say you did only have the $10, well, maybe your team member, they can contribute as well. So then you can come up with a nice budget to where you can get started. But you're not going to be able to get into affiliate marketing, paid traffic especially, without capital.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, especially with where the majority of the industry is going right now, which is, pop under and redirect traffic. I'm seeing a lot of people thinking that they can come in with, a budget of $100, $500 and run successfully. On top of that, they come in and they try and run of the network and basically leave the floodgates open, spend that entire $500 in a single day and learn nothing. So I would say, minimum budget, especially in 2015, would be at least $5,000. And that is not counting the $5,000 that you need to pay for rent. That's $5,000 that you're willing to lose to purchase data and pay for your tools and all that, because that'll actually give you enough budget to actually learn from your mistakes, as opposed to the alternative where you just blow it all in one day. When if you're going to do that, you might as well just go down to the casino and put in a slot machine, because it's exactly the same thing.
You're so right there. I mean, I've had over the years, especially people running through the I Am Grind forum would come in and say, well, I've got $100 to spend and I also need to pay my rent, or $1,000 and $1,000 for rent. Like, well, you have no business getting into paid traffic if you can't pay your $1,000 rent. I know, and I guess a lot of fault is a lot of the scammy gurus out there. I guess let's go ahead and say it. A lot of scammy gurus out there, they want to promise that you're going to become rich overnight, and you're going to do that with just the $100 in your pocket. Well, that's not going to happen. This is a business. Affiliate marketing is a business, and it always has been, and you have to treat it as one. So just as with any business, when you form your LLC or your incorporation, you have to fuel it with capital. You have to contribute capital to open it, and that's not capital doesn't mean rent money. It's completely different, and that's very important. And you mentioned POPs. Pop traffic is tremendous in mobile right now, and so is redirect traffic, but it comes hot and heavy, and $10 is not going to get you very far. Yes, it's going to get you a lot of pops, so to speak, but really a lot of that traffic's no good until you start to monetize it and filter it out correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. And regarding the guru stuff, I've seen a lot of people selling courses on how to do pop traffic and redirect, and I've got a free guide coming out that will teach you everything that is like legit. And one of the main things that I'm going to say right away is, if you don't have the budget, don't even waste your time with it, because you're going to lose your money. And, I think the problem is a lot of people come in through get rich quick funnels, and they think that this is a quick way to make money, when in reality it's not. It's a business, and you're going to have to carve your way through, against people that have already been in the space for a while and understand a lot more than you. And if you don't have the budget to, sustain the enough time to learn and actually adapt, then you're definitely going to lose.
Yeah, and I think too right now that the whole industry itself is in kind of guru overload. And there's a lot of people putting a lot of information out there, so it's really trying to people are trying to sort through what's good, what's not, who knows what they're talking about, who doesn't, where do I make my investment, where can I learn the best material. So that's a hard thing too. And so I always recommended to people, don't go buying everything you see, because there's a lot of information that's out there already that you can get, but there's only so much learning you can do. You learn a lot through taking action. And that's something that we always preach to I Am Grind, is you get in and start friggin' buying traffic, because especially if you're using all your investments in your learning, eventually you're dipping into a budget that you're going to learn a lot as soon as you make that first media buy. As soon as you dedicate that first $1,000 to that first redirect campaign or that first pop campaign, you're going to learn so much. It's going to be worth, 1,000 hours that you could go read, or just listen to someone else.
Yeah, and with the learnings, I found that if if basically the course or book or whatever you're about to purchase or getting marketed to, if they're having to hype up how much they're making from the methods in that, generally it's shit and you should avoid it. And the stuff that you're really going to learn is when, you're actually buying books from people that have built actual successful businesses, like biographies and stuff like that. But as far as learning the strategies, the majority of that is, for free out on the web. Now, obviously I sell courses as well, but even I'm telling you that you don't have to listen to just me. Use what I teach you or use what we teach you and then build upon that, because your only competitive advantage is going to be you nonstop learning and getting ahead of the gurus. Because by the time a guru teaches you something, it means it's not successful for them anymore. And that's why they are selling it as a course. So that's the reality.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why over the last 12 months I've kind of stepped back from the guru scene, so to speak, because there's only so much you can teach and run and develop yourselves and your companies. So for us, we've been developing this piece of technology called RevMax, and RevMax is a mobile ad server, which we're going to have a lot more information out soon. RevMax.mobi is the current site, so you can kind of get a little bit of an overview of what we have going on there. But right now it's a beta only invite, and we're about to open that up to a select few people that want a beta invite. But anyways, that's taken up a lot of time to be able to to run a company as well as to help others. And now I kind of want to this year, and I know Brent stepped out, and he's made some time available to get his material out to help, and I hope to be able to assist him a little bit as well in getting some more of my material out. As we get more towards the development of this product and stuff like that to help, because I do know there's a need out there, especially here in 2015 affiliate marketing, but there's also a tremendous opportunity still. I think a lot of people, and I heard this the other day, or actually the other week, and it came from someone else that's selling stuff out there. Like, there's only about a 2-year limit in this. Well, when we first dropped the movie Manifesto, we said that there was going to be a limit, to entry of anything. But also, as one area gets limited, it opens up a whole bunch of new areas. So just as one door closes, there's many more opening. And especially with mobile, the space is exploding so quickly right now. Anything that as long as you're able to monetize that traffic, but you're able to take a legitimate approach to it, really the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people right now they're focusing on, which offer to run. In reality, they should be changing their mindset and just trying to figure out what can I do to get an EPC that's higher than my CPC. And, like we'd already mentioned, there's a lot of the industry that's still running the exact same offers that, we were running back in 2014 and earlier. But there is a ton of industries that still haven't had innovation yet that are literally untapped. And for example, I'm working with a few clients in industries that really haven't been innovative for quite some time, coming in, taking stuff that I've learned from running, the sweeps and antivirus and stuff like that, the more aggressive stuff, but then, toning it down, turning it into white hat and actually morphing that into a white hat legitimate campaign. And we're blowing everyone else out of the water because everyone else in that space is using, the same creatives that they've been using for the last 10 years. So just coming in and innovating that just totally changed the game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying with the industry. As one door closes, there's another one that opens, because there's so many industries that have not made the jump into mobile. They don't understand it. They're still trying to, block it out of their AdWords campaigns. They're still trying to, underbid that traffic. And, to the average merchant, it is crap traffic. If you don't know how a mobile user interacts, if you don't know how they operate when they're in a session, then it's going to be no good. You're going to have a huge high bounce rate and a low conversion rate. But as you start to understand, and as you said, Brent, as you start to innovate using the core principles that you've learned in another niche or another offer, and you take that over to another niche, another industry, even so to speak, then you're able to apply those same principles. Then you actually innovate this whole thing that's, uncharted territories where everyone else is losing money, and you're sitting there just, making money all the way to the bank.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the main problem is most people don't realize that there is a ton of other opportunity out there just besides the performance offers available right now. The only reason these types of offers are doing so well is because they're super aggressive and they work on a lot of sources. But in reality, you're not actually marketing. You're basically doing fear mongering and making people, download content that they don't really want because you're scaring the crap out of them, or you're making them excited thinking that they've, achieved or won something. While if you take the same principles and move it over to, real products and services, you can really help a lot of, other businesses that are struggling with marketing by using that same psychology, but actually, helping businesses as well. And once you do that, once you actually start to realize that there's other businesses that you can help, that allows you to run without having to cloak or any of that crap on Facebook and Google and all the big sources where the quality traffic is, where all the affiliates want to go, but they can't figure out how to get there. And it's right in front of them.
Yeah, that's true. And some of my biggest clients that I've worked with over the last 12 months is people and companies that you would never even think of that would be looking for tons of mobile traffic, but they're out there. And that's the funny thing. They're not on these affiliate networks, at least not right now, until they kind of catch wind of that. But, the whole industry just wants to repeat itself. And we saw this in affiliate marketing back in the in 2009, 2010. We saw this with people with the diet and the rebills. Companies were made solely on the fact that they copied something they saw, and they plug in their mid, they set up their website and they ship the same product just from under a different name. And this whole kind of vicious cycle, and it kind of repeated itself in mobile, because it's not really marketing. You're kind of forcing someone into something by either scaring the crap out of them or for other means, but it's not really actually marketing and adding true value to that end company and getting the results of a lifetime customer that's going to be happy for many years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like another thing is basically when you can actually start to take these once you can start to find these other companies and stuff to work with, the money is actually much easier because there's absolutely no competition. See, the main thing is, if something's super popular right now and everyone's training on it, that means that 99% of everyone that you're competing against is also going to that exact same source, running that exact same offer and their exact same landing page. But if you start running a client campaign or doing something like that, where it's a much smaller niche that most people overlook, you can still make $1,000, $2,000 a month, not really a day. But if you just get a few of those, then you can grow, and there's absolutely no one that you have to compete against. So it's literally set up the campaign and just run. There's no competition. While if you're running something on pops like sweeps or something, you're having to endlessly micromanage that one campaign, because every single day there's more competition and they're all spying on your stuff, trying to rip your pages and trying to copy your entire business model because you have no competitive advantage.
I can't believe people are still running that stuff in 2015. Of course, it's always going to be out there anytime money is to be made, but my gosh, innovate a little bit more. And that is funny because I've seen some of the same landing pages that, maybe we were running 5 years ago or developed 5 years ago or 4 years ago. Innovate more. You need to get with it, people. Let's change it up. And that's something that I think that, every affiliate marketer needs to wake up every morning and say, okay, well, I've got my campaigns here. These are what's working. This is what's going well. Now I need to devote a portion of my day to innovating. What am I going to do today that's in uncharted territories? Am I going to wake up and do the same routine over and over again? Or am I going to wake up and I'm going to get my stuff done that's paying the bills, keeping the lights on, and then spend the next part of my day innovating? I'm going to go into uncharted waters. I'm going to do stuff that I haven't done before. I'm going to really expand my business. And that's how you grow. You can't stay in that same cycle, because eventually that cycle is going to stop. If you can't continue to innovate and move forward, then eventually you're going to stop. You're going to go away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that kind of blends, perfectly in with competitive advantage is if you're learning the same stuff everyone else is, then you're stuck in the same rut. You're stuck in the same circle. And so when one person goes down, everyone goes down, because you're all stuck in that. You're all doing the exact same thing. And you're basically just a clone of each other. While if you actually do something, if you think outside of the box, there's a lot of opportunity out there that, just one small change in your mindset will allow you to actually find success in something that no one else is even thinking about. And if you keep doing that each day, you'll start to see trends in the marketplace where you'll actually be able to adapt and make changes before everyone else. Because there's a lot of people right now that I know are running the same stuff. They have absolutely no idea about anything else because they're making good money, so they don't care. And I would imagine about 3 years, even less, they'll be working at Walmart because they weren't able to adapt.
Yeah, it's always adapt or die, and it's it's super sad in some situations because there's many of affiliates I knew in 2009, 2010 who were making six figures a month, sometimes seven, and now they're back here at a job or back in school even, and there's several things I've seen happen throughout the industry, and it's because they didn't adapt. They wanted to continue to run everything how it worked. And they had that one successful month, so they tried to replicate it each month. Each month it got harder and harder until they eventually went away. And unfortunately, one thing that we see in the affiliate marketing industry is mismanagement of funds. Again, that kind of goes back to not treating it like a business, like a real business where you have where you're making the right investments for your future, and you're setting up retirements, and you're diversifying. And some affiliates have done it very well. I'm friends with several that have actually offline businesses now too. So they, instead of developing campaigns, they kind of got sick of the same rat race. They said, well, I'm gonna run campaigns 3 hours a day, and my other 5 days for the work day, I'm gonna have an offline business and work on it. And they've been very successful at that. So I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, because if we want to merge into, what we were talking about a little bit earlier about, where the industry as a whole, like marketing as a whole, is headed, just based on what we're seeing, even if for whatever reason you're able to continuously run these sweeps for the next 5 to 10 years, if you really pay attention to what's happening with, the battle between the large companies, and the companies I'm talking about is Facebook, Apple, and Google, you can notice that Apple is really trying to put some pressure on Google by introducing ad blockers and trying to make those more popular, because that forces the user out of the web, where Apple makes no money and Google makes all of their money, or the large majority of. And so we're going to start to see a trend of people that are wanting to block advertisements, and it's going to kind of merge and really hurt performance marketers, because there'll be even less inventory available, especially on these really scammier sites that we see the redirect and pop traffic coming from.
Yeah, that's that's very true. And it's it's just kind of funny just to watch it evolve, and to kind of see where it goes. And I think another big thing is going to be like the lead generation stuff. Especially the legitimate lead generation. And they're trying to get their leads for just their sweeps or whatever. They're going to eventually run into a roadblock, with their campaign and diversifying it. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but
yeah. So basically, instead of like the sweeps right now, when you collect the data, basically all they're doing is monetizing it with other scammier offers, while companies that actually need to generate the lead data to actually sell a service, a real product or service, they'll be around for a while. And I think that's where a lot of the opportunity will come, because obviously those types of businesses aren't going to go away. Even if the marketing landscape changes, where we're starting to see less banner inventory available, there will still be a huge need for real businesses to advertise, because that'll never go away. That'll always be around. And so if you can realize where the industry is going, and you can start to make changes, to your business now, you'll be much more prepared, when and if it happens. Because really, there's only two outcomes that are going to happen. It's either, Apple is going to be the company that you buy premium content for, but you don't have to deal with ads, and then Google will be the company that is a quote unquote free company, but you have to deal with advertisements nonstop. And if that actually happens, the only advertisements we'll have available to us as marketers is the population of people that don't have enough money to buy the higher level premium content anyway, and therefore it's going to be much harder to sell to the less fortunate our products and services. If as opposed to on the Apple side, they wouldn't be having to see advertisements, and therefore it's going to be much more difficult to market to them.
Right. Yeah, for some reason, I'm just checking out this software here. It's funny, my mic was picking up for a little bit there when Brent was talking, and you saw me kind of skirming around here. But yeah, that's that's right. And I think ad blockers has been a big topic of conversation. And I was watching CNBC the other morning at Squawk Box, and it was the CEO of Business Insider that just sold, and he was talking about how they're going to take their model to more of a premium model, and that's how they're going to kind of overcome this ad blocking. And so as a marketer that buys a lot of traffic, ad blockers, they change stuff, but they don't just stop the game completely, because there's always going to be a need to market. There's always going to be a need for that service. And if you guys remember, some that know me, back in 2007, I used to make my money solely from selling ads on popular sites. Well, that's back when the recession hit us hard, and the housing market here in the United States went to crap, and so did the ad budgets went away. So that's when I turned my pro wrestling website into a subscription-based product. Yes, we had ads, but we also had the subscription-based product. So therefore, then there's two ways to monetize. So it kind of goes back into what Brent's saying, about the premium content that Apple has, versus what people can afford or not. You have to kind of adjust that towards each region based on, budgets on what people can afford and what they cannot. But I think as far as ad blockers is concerned, yeah, the big popovers on an app or the big banners on ad, that stuff can be blocked, but there's still going to be a need somewhere along in that app. And whether it's in like a lead gen form or a download form, there's always going to be an area that you can be used to market, but it's got to be done correctly. It's got to be done in a way that doesn't kill the user experience, because that, let's face it, on this screen here, there's only so much room on it. And this is an iPhone 6 Plus, so it's a big screen, but it doesn't take too many banners on this to really get annoying. So you can see why people want an ad blocker on it. At the same time, though, there's still going to be ways to actually reach the user through clever marketing. And that's, as we talk about affiliate marketing in 2015, it's more about getting more clever on how you reach someone through the device as a whole, instead of just your traditional banners that can be blocked now.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone here watches Gary Vaynerchuk, but he had a great video about how marketers ruin everything. And what he meant by that is when the radio came out, people were listening to the content, they were engaged, they were in that case, they were hearing it, and marketers came along, they wanted to interrupt their attention so they can sell them stuff. And so eventually radio advertisements obviously started to diminish. Like when it first came out, it was very responsive because people weren't used to it. Well, the same thing happened with newspaper, obviously, the same thing happened with TV, and now the same thing is happening with, banners on the internet. And, ever since they first came out, display advertising, the click-through rate has been going down. And so, even if they don't get blocked outright, with the rate that we're going with click-through rates, the more, it's a double-edged sword, because the ad networks, they want to have a cleaner advertisement, so they're not allowing, as many animated banners or obtrusive types of creatives. But so you're having to use, more brand aware banners. But on the flip side, you have people that are less likely to click on banners. And so the click-through rates are diminishing every single day. And so regardless, that type of advertising, I think, will be gone. And, figuring out the next thing as marketers, being the first ones there is very important, because once you're the first one there, you get the most return for your dollar, as there's no competition, and everyone starts to follow along and then ruins it.
Yeah, being first is everything. The first person there wins. Now, here's a funny example. Back in 1998, 2000, that's when I first started to make money online. And it was done by a 468 by 60 banner above the fold on my websites. And I did very well with it. Well, in 2001, we saw the dot-com crash, the bubble burst, so to speak. And everyone always says the bubble's going to burst. Well, it burst. And so ad rates went to crap. And everyone said, well, it was nice while it lasted, but the internet's over. And the majority of people that I worked with, they went and, went to college and got another job and all that. Well, since then, I've made the bulk of my wealth from 2001, 2002 until today in 2015. I've made a lot more than I made back in 98 to 2001. So that was just like a small period. And at the time, everyone said, well, the game over. Well, no, game wasn't over. The game was just getting started. And even though right now in 2015, the game is really just getting started, it's just evolving. As you mentioned, Brent, you're right. Click-through rate's been going down ever since banners came out. People don't want to be advertised to. You know what? When I watch TV, I very rarely watch a show live. I either will buy it on Vudu, buy it on my Apple TV, or I'll record it so I can fast forward through the commercials I don't want to be sold to. And that's everyone. And now they're starting to screw up with native ads because, native ads came out, and those are the ads at the bottom of websites and apps. They kind of look like the content. Well, of course, like Brent said, you give it to a marketer, they're going to ruin it, the radio. So the native ads now, those, we're seeing the click-through rates go down on those. And because, you can go to, for instance, my brother's pro wrestling site, you can go to it, and at the bottom of his site, you have 4 images of naked or halfway naked women now for people to click on them. They're trying to get click-through rates by using these, tremendously shocking images, and for weight loss or for skincare type products. And so they're showing these crazy images. Well, eventually, that the crackdown's going to come on that, and it's going to change. So, from 2001 until 2015, everything's always been changing. It's always been evolving. The pop-up, and so back in 2002, the death was the pop-up blockers, because after the crash in 2001, 2002, 2003 came along, well, everyone just loaded their website up with pop-ups. And I'm sure you guys remember, MySpace, you couldn't go to it without getting 20 pop-ups. Well, now how many websites do you go to on your computer and get a pop-up? Not many. So, remember, pop-up blockers came out. Everyone said, well, it's over, game over. Well, no, it's not. It's just getting started. The industry's evolving. And as marketers, like Brent said, we get there first. Whoever gets there first is going to make the most money and is going to win, but they can help evolve and adapt and progress. So we used to always say, adapt, develop, and progress. ADP, every single day. Yesterday is gone. Today is a new day. It's going to be different than yesterday. Next month is going to be different than this month. This year is a lot different than last year. And that just that's just how fast the online world moves. And so I think a lot of people that are just wanting to get involved in affiliate marketing in 2015, if you can't do that, if you can't adapt, then it's probably not going to be for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention the fact that things are changing quicker and quicker each day. Like, the radio took a while to obviously, get to the point where it was no longer, very valuable to most businesses. Newspaper, it was a little bit shorter time frame. Obviously, the internet hasn't been out that long, and it's already been changed multiple times. And mobile was even less. It's only been 7 years now, 8 years that mobile's really been out, and we've already started to see a huge change in it. And is mobile going anywhere? No. The next point will be some type of wearable tech where we start to see it on our hood or whatever. But the point is the first ones that are there as marketers, the ones that learn these new technologies and understand them to be able to actually market to people will find success, while the ones that are still trying to screw around with pop-ups and stuff, they obviously will get weeded out. And one thing you mentioned is, which sites do you see that actually have pop-ups? And, that's a good point to make, because the type of traffic that most affiliates are buying right now is pop and redirect. Well, the only sites that really have those types of advertisements left are basically illegal sites or adult sites, torrent sites, MP3 sites that, the type of traffic that are actually going to those sites and visiting is pretty low quality, or they are smart enough to know that, that pop under is obviously not really a virus on my phone at this point. So, that stuff's going to get wiped out, while there's a huge opportunity elsewhere that, if you don't adapt, you're toast.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Brent. And it's funny. I guess a couple months ago, 6 months ago now, I was watching the Mayweather fight, and my cable provider actually kind of screwed up and glitched out for a little bit. So I just got online and I typed in Mayweather stream. I mean, just like everyone else would, and tried to bring it up while my cable provider was doing no good on me. Anyways, I found a couple sites with the stream on it, but there was an enormous amount of affiliates. I think I saw everyone out there watching. I saw your ads that day. It's just a tremendous amount of pop-ups and everything. And of course, I'm not going to click on any of that to turn on my ad blocker, and bam, it's gone. So yeah, that type of traffic is going away. It's not sustainable. So that's why, you need to really look at what you're running and how you're running it. And that's the reason why we're developing and we have developed our RevMax ad servers, because it innovates along with the industry. As things change, we call it the mobile meets artificial intelligence, because it's a smart engine. The way we've built it is it actually adapts to the changes in traffic, and it adapts to the industry along with the monetization methods on the back end. So when a publisher plugs into the RevMax technology, whether it be an app, whether it be a website, or whether it be a media buyer, we adapt to their traffic. And we're not your traditional affiliate network. We're not your Mundo Media. We're not your Mobi. You're not going to come to us and just pull an offer that's been around forever and start running traffic. We are actually going to adapt your traffic, because we know that what the overall value is, that your EPC is higher than your eCPM. You have to make money on the traffic that you're buying. And so we help develop that. We help to monetize that traffic by throwing these new methods in, and kind of adapting with the entire industry as an ad server engine.
Yeah, very nice. So as far as kind of wrapping this up, I think what we should basically say is, if you guys have any actual questions that you would like to ask us that we can talk about to kind of, fuel these talks, that would, just leave them in the comments below, or you can reach out to either, me or Ryan, and, we'll kind of move forward with these talks and just kind of be open about everything, because there's not really anyone talking about, all of these big changes in our industry. Everyone, like we have mentioned multiple times, is in their own little bubble. And once that finally pops, they're pretty much done.
Yeah. And this is fun, actually. This is pretty cool. This is, and for you guys that are not aware of it, this is the new Google Hangouts type stuff. Anyways, me and Brent are going to try to start doing this once a week, maybe even more than that, to where we can just talk. And, you can reach out to me right now on social media. You can reach out to me through the revmax.mobi website. What I'm going to do is I'll be posting on my personal social medias when beta invites are opened, and, also more details about these talks and stuff. Really, Brent and I talked about this before the call, don't really have a home base right now for this call, other than just kind of out there in social media. And Brent's site, pay-per-click-mode.com, you can kind of to stay up with his site to get to this link. But, we definitely want to hear your feedback. And, we kind of want to make these talks, that are to help you, that are kind of getting in our heads, once a week, because, we can kind of show you how we think, and it kind of will benefit your business as well. And, maybe we'll do them at a later hour, to where me and Brent sit around and have some beers or something. And it's like a conversation after, a day at the office or something. So, definitely, reach out to us if you like today, or if there's something we didn't cover, something you want us to cover coming up, let us know, because these will continue to get, popular as it moves along.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's the other thing to mention, is this is the very first one we did. So it was obviously a test, a little bit, rough around the edges. We're also learning, all the settings with this, but it's relatively new. So, bear with us. Obviously, we're trying to learn and, be the first ones to adapt to new technology. So obviously we're going to have some problems. And for example, in the future videos, we should have a Q&A. I'm not sure why it didn't actually function this time, but we'll figure that out. So it actually allows you guys, as you're watching live, to ask us questions to actually help us along, with the content of the call.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'll go ahead and let you take it offline now, Brent. But other than that, only thing I got to say is go Royals.
All righty. Good talking with you, Ryan.
Yeah, man. See ya.
Later.